G'day, mate, and welcome to Friday Facts 318. We've got new tool tips, and I don't know, is Mojo a tool or a tip?
Uh,
There you go, I got that out of you at least. Okay. So this one's all about the new tool tips with a sort of a, I don't know, sort of a special surprise. There's an seating bonus post at the end. I guess that's probably the best way of putting it.
yeah, there's some tooltip crap, and then there's some good stuff at the low.
Well, I think the debate's still out on that one. Anyway, okay, so I've got new tool tips. This one's by Twinson, and yeah, they're working on the GUI. He's been working one particular part, the tooltips, not only updating style, but also updating how the information is structured and sorted, and adding missing information, removing irrelevant information. And this concerns the entity, the item, and the recipe tooltips, but almost all tooltips were touched in one way or another. Many things were changed. I'll go through some of the important changes. The first one, we've got the looks. So the looks are very different, and they're trying to...
Dark mode?
Technically, it's transparent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I like the idea it's transparent. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work with the blog colors. So we'll just leave that one there. I think it's going to be the same as the research tree. So it's that semi-transparent grey look, which sounds great to me. That sounds probably perfect. They might want to lighten it up and have a little bit more transparent. We'll have to wait to see it.
You need to see it in the actual game, yeah.
So they try to keep them compact as possible, and sometimes there's quite a lot of information to show. And we've got a construction robot here that has a couple of things that you don't normally see. The cargo capacity, normally you'd have to look at the bonuses tab to see that. The speed, same story, you'd have to look at the bonuses tab to see that.
You get the base speed there, but also the bonuses.
Yeah.
13 plus 48.
Yeah, I don't even think you don't even get the base speed in game currently.
No, once
I've got no idea
you start taking up, you get the bonus speed only.
You even get the speed in stock Factorio, do you?
I think you do actually. With on the crafting menu, you get the base speed, and then to find out the actual speed, you have to look at the bonus.
Okay, I don't think you get any speed. Somebody will correct one of us in the comments. Normally it's me who's wrong, but yeah. But on top of that, you get the energy consumption. And I don't know about the moving consumption. That doesn't make sense.
That's how much it uses per tile that it travels.
Yeah, but the way it looks like to me, just looking at it, is it uses 18 kilowatts at all times, plus 66 when moving. I realize that that's the 18 kilowatts is for the 13 base speed, and the 66 is for the 480 boosted speed with research. But it's just the way it looks. It's like, is it using 180 all the time? Or 18 all the time?
Or is it using both and then some scaling of both?
Yeah, it's just weird for just construction robots. But I imagine there's going to be, if you look through all the items in Factorio, there's like 200 and something of them. There's going to be a lot of things like that they might need to reword, retranslate, reconsider. So yeah, they're also trying to do a lot of standardization. So here we go. Categorization. Some common properties like electricity consumption are grouped into categories. Most of the work was defining these categories and trying to figure out what makes sense. And again, you've got this max consumption of electricity down the bottom, same as we did with the construction robots. And I sort of like that idea. The one thing I'm sort of worried about is currently, like, the right-hand side tooltip, everything is basically all in the same spot. Like, all the power usage is in the same spot, all the burnable usage is in the same spot.
Because that sidebar has been the eternal struggle with information.
Yeah, it has, and I'm worried that things might be in a set order, but because the order's not structured, right? With this is exactly this much space, no more. this is exactly this much space, that it might be the bottom line, the bottom line of 5 lines, but on the next item, it might be the bottom line that only has 3 lines, and therefore it's up higher up the page. So, yeah. We'll get more into that in a second. So,
it may still work out because it has the colorized highlight for the cat. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And then again, for anyone who you actually reminded me, for anyone who remembers the older bar when you had the information overload version 13 and 14, where you had all the resistances.
Yeah, which is funny because there are, like, it was absolutely useless, but there have been some times I'm like, I wonder what the resistance is for that. Is that better than that? And of course, they're not listed anymore.
Yeah. Well, they changed the resistances anyway.
Yeah, they did too.
Like 4 now instead of 8.
There's 4 now instead of 6.
Either way.
Yeah, but
there was a lot of them.
Then we have one in for acid that didn't exist prior. Because you got to remember, biters are 100% immune to spitter acid. Which didn't exist prior to that.
You didn't need that one before.
No, because acid just homed, and it was a homing missile. Good luck dodging it. So, new information. The place where categorization really shines is on the tooltips of power generating entities. Creating an optimal nuclear setup was absolutely, not almost impossible, it was absolutely impossible without the help of the wiki. Because the nuclear setup.
Heat exchangers.
The heat exchangers did 103 steam per second. And the steam turbine told you it did 60 per second. And trying to work out how much a heat exchanger made in the way of steam was absolutely impossible.
You could count it by steam, or we could do it by power. That was how I did, because the ratio is the same.
I'll take your word for it. That doesn't make any sense to me. I end up having to look it up, and it's like 1.78 steam engines to a heat exchanger, and honestly, 2 steam turbines to a heat exchanger. Ignore the ratio loss; it works out better for UPS every time.
Every time it's been done to death, that one.
Yeah. Why the devs went for 103 steam per second? Nobody will know, but yeah. So, look, I like this. I like the idea of generates steam, generates heat, consumes heat, gives steam, consumes steam. I like that it flows like that. I have to admit, when I first saw the little consumes and generates steam thing, I thought it was a really misshapen thumbs up because I haven't slept. Or a really misshapen thumbs down. Either way.
A very deflated idea, speech bubble.
Yeah, that too. I like this idea, but the problem you have is, like, okay, everything's yellow, so I'm really on Factorio yellow overload right now.
Gotta stick to that tonal theme.
Yeah, and we have generate steam at the end of one, but there's no way. There's nothing like the FNEI mods, etc. You can click steam and find out all the things that either generate steam or consume steam. It's like they got halfway to implementing something like that and then stopped. Because if they had something like that in there, it would probably make more sense that we could go, okay, what makes steam to then consume steam? What are the stats when it comes to steam? Temperature range, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's like half an idea or half a concept.
It's possible they don't want to go down the full FNEI or NEI or JNEI, whatever it is. I don't know now. There's so many. So many variations.
Hellmod's another one. Or at least I think it is. I don't know. I don't play with those ones because they're good at uncomplicating a complicated mod. If the mod's too complicated to start with, that you need a mod helper to uncomplicate the mod you're playing or the mod pack you're playing. There's probably something wrong with the mod pack you're playing.
There to solve a problem that shouldn't exist.
Yep.
It also is the way that they've set this up is to narrow down the scope. So they're talking about nuclear reactors
Yep.
and boilers. So it's narrowing down the scope for steam. So I guess you could say it's context sensitive. So you're interested in a boiler. So it's giving you information from boiler to a steam engine, or a nuclear
Yeah.
reactor to heat exchanger to steam turbine. So it's
Ye-
narrowing down, instead of just giving you everything steam related, it's giving it to everything that's relevant.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, your nuclear reactor and your heat exchanger and your steam turbine are near one another in your crafting menu, so they sort of make sense anyway. Same with your boiler and your steam engine. Like, they're near one another in your crafting menu.
That's true, they are actually in the same line.
Yeah, but the fact that a boiler generates steam that can go to a steam engine, the steam engine is nowhere near the heat exchanger, even though, one makes steam and one consumes steam. They can work together perfectly. Same goes for the steam turbine and a boiler. They both work together, but they're not beside one another. It hasn't really improved anything, because I've and I'm sure you've probably done it as well, hooked up steam turbines to boilers, because you can use one steam turbine to one boiler rather than
you can do that.
two steam engines to a boiler. And it works because it consumes 60 steam, and that's really what you want to consume to make the power.
And it also works out that the efficiency loss of running the turbine at a lower temperature means that it performs exactly the same as two steam turbines.
It's two steam engines. Yeah, it's a perfect one-for-one swap. It just gives you a smaller build. But it's not grouped. You're missing that categorization where you can go, okay, I need electricity. Let's click on electricity and then go, okay, I need things that consume steam. Show me my list of stuff that consumes steam. All right, okay, I need stuff that generates steam. Show me my list of stuff that generates steam. And then I have two choices. Consumes water with a burnable fuel, or consumes heat and water. Well, what's a burnable fuel and what's heat? And can I go back down the path to find either something that makes heat or something that makes burnable fuel, to then, get myself steam to get a steam engine or a turbine to then make power. Like this, it's presented where you can go A to B to C, but it doesn't actually work like that in game unless they're missing that overarching FNEI, or for those who play Oxygen Not Included, the Jupipedia, where you can click from one association to another and find out that your hatch needs, I don't know, this type of food, and you can actually click on that type of food and it goes, okay, this is what sedimentary rock does and where it can be found and all that sort of stuff. It's, I don't know, it feels like a good step in the right direction, good for tooltips, but it just might need that extra step to
see what happens with it, because I'm sure they'll expand on it as we go.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, and I'm also hoping we get it.
I'm hoping as well. There is a chance that they will just do it and then leave it.
Yeah, which has happened not far too many times, but it has happened a few times in the past. I'm also hoping that maybe somebody overlooks the abundance of Factorio yellow. Yellow, orange, whatever you want to call it. And
I think it's a style that they've settled on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, the other question is, what will mods do to it? Will mods be able to change any of those colors? Will we get a Technicolor yawn from Bob's mods of tooltips?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. So we go down the list. We have entity tooltips and item tooltips. They generally show the same properties, but he tried to make the entity tooltips show the state information wherever possible. And then he points out categories are even more useful now, so properties like the fuel inside the machine or the state of fluid output pipe can now be grouped inside the relevant categories, which brings me back to my earlier point of things that used to be in a guaranteed spot on the right-hand side now might move up and down in a tooltip list depending on what entity I'm hovering over. So we do have the offshore pump, which does have, a lot of people are pointing out, the pumping speed of 41 seconds of 1200 per second, which a lot of people, like, you had to know the maths. You had to know what its total pump output speed was and sort of reverse engineer the maths to know how much water you could possibly be drawing from it to make sure that you didn't need a second pump at some stage. Because I know I've seen people's power setups where, they've got the right amount of boilers, the right amount of steam engines, but the build is too long for the one pipe of water they have. They need a second pipe of water.
Or it looks fine because it's not consuming it because it's only running at half. That's a classic
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And then complaining because suddenly the water's not working
Yeah.
when it goes at maximum.
So I like that. I like that we've now got a pumping speed. Same with like consuming water, 41.2 of 60.
That is probably is one of the most beneficial like one of the biggest benefits overall is to see fluid consumption.
Well,
there's no way of telling what the hell's going on otherwise.
You could always sit over the steam engine, and that's basically what I take. I take my build out. I'd look at a steam engine. I'm like, okay, so if you're at 25 out of 30, they're all at 25 out of 30 because they all work at the same rate. You know, it's not one steam engine decides to go a little bit faster and the next one decides to go a little bit slower. They all work at the exact same rate. So that's basically what I run all my assumptions from. So if I knew what my steam engine was doing, I could assume 2 times that for my boiler and then however many times that for my offshore pump. But it meant you had to keep track of that maths. The boiler having the consuming of water and the output of steam numbers probably doesn't matter. But for the offshore pump and of course for the steam engine, makes a big difference.
But boiler to steam engine doesn't matter as much because they're fixed 2 to 1. But it's seeing the water going through. Although the thought does come to mind, the pipes do have a loss.
They do have a loss over distance. So
I'll be interested to see what comes of it.
Yeah, you're right. You would be able to put an offshore pump, a lot of either underground pipes or just straight pipes, because straight pipes cost 10 times the amount of loss as underground pipes do, and then put your boiler set up and then see if you can still consume all that water, which we obviously know you can't, but I guess the question will be if you put a boiler and then a string of, 20 straight pipe, and then another boiler, and then rinse and repeat. If the first one's going to be consuming 60 of 60 water, and then by the time you get 5 along, is it only, 58 of 60 because it just can't get the throughput it needs anymore? Just because of the length of the pipe? I don't know. You're right. It will lead to some interesting experiments, but I have a feeling they're going to be a one-off. It'll be a, wow, Reddit, look at what I found. And then, yeah, that'll probably be the end of the usefulness of that particular tooltip.
Or you every 2 weeks on Reddit, there'll be a TMI, I found this thing.
Yep. Do you know what, Mojo? You can filter your splitters.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Or is that actually a post?
That is actually a post. Just about every week. Just not quite every week. Yeah. You can filter your splitters. They have a
I'm glad I don't. I don't read Reddit that often.
Yep.
And then again, that's why I don't read Reddit that often.
We do have one thing that I did see down here. So other entities have more properties added to them, such as inserter rotation speed, which I know exists, but I have no idea what the numbers are, I'm fully honest. Rolling stock weight, because trains don't technically have a weight currently, do they? They have a weight multiplier penalty, but they don't have a weight number.
Yeah, they have a mass, a weight.
Oh, do they? Okay, well, there you go.
It just doesn't really do anything. It doesn't. Like the Factorio extended trains, to get the super speed that they do, the weight is really low and the friction's really low. That's why they roll forever.
But they don't have a physical weight in-game number, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of useless numbers in there.
Okay.
Mostly useless.
I never remember seeing a weight number in-game. I'll rephrase that. I don't remember seeing a weight number in-game in a tooltip, a pop-up, anything that I could see and access and interact with and memorize. I know they exist in the back code.
It was always exist in the background, but they never showed the weight before.
Because I know, like, a standard wagon and a fluid wagon now have the same weight, but an artillery wagon weighs twice as much.
Yeah.
And in the past, fluid wagons used to weigh 3 times as much. They also stored 3 times as much.
Yes.
So, you know, they had some sort of weight and they have some sort of drag as well. But yeah, it's in the background code. And I don't even think it's a number still. It's just a penalty number.
It's some really obscure equation.
Yeah. So we also have laser turret energy use per shot, which might actually now let me prove to some people on multiplayer maps that lasers are really pointless until you get shooting speed and shooting damage like 5 or 6.
It used to be that you couldn't bother with, you would never even consider laser turrets until you got at least all of the red-green level tech.
Yeah, about halfway up the upgrade tree, because otherwise AP ammo with your damage upgrades and everything that you'd already researched just outdid lasers.
Yeah, it just
and
kills it.
The amount of bases that I've seen, they've just been multiplayer bases, inexperienced players that one whole wall has lost or been broken by biters because somebody went along and like, I'm going to be great. I'm going to pull up the gun turret wall that's using all our iron and all our steel, and I'm going to put down some lasers instead. And then 20 minutes later, they're through the wall. They're wandering through the base. Oh, you know that iron you saved? They're eating it. Because yeah, the lasers just didn't have the oomph to take out the biters fast enough. But yeah, we also have flamethrower turret burning and slowdown effect. So if you don't know, flamers actually have a slowdown effect. I think it's 10% from memory. But again, it's not written in any of the tooltips. It's in the back end code somewhere.
Another hidden factor.
Yep. I actually think there's an increased multiplier for using the different oil types.
Yeah,
for the slowdown
I
effect.
I don't know if that's still there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I know it exists at some stage, but because there's no tooltip for me to see it easily, I don't know if it's still there or not. It's either read through the Lua code to find it or look at the wiki.
Well, it used to be a tooltip before the fluid change. The fluid
No,
blocking
that was only
change.
the damage increase multiplier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was, I think it's 10% for using heavy and 20% for using the light, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah. So, on to tooltip separation. So, I like the first line. The recipe tooltip was kind of a Frankenstein's monster of recipe information and item information mashed together, which is 100% accurate. It had all the important things you needed to know in no particular order. So the solution was to split tooltips into a multi-tooltip when hovering a recipe. So you actually have the recipe information at the top and the actual tooltip information on the bottom with what it does and how it does it. Which I like the idea of. And I don't know, I'm sort of halfway tempted to ask the question, can I turn off the bottom half if I'm hovering over my crafting menu? Because I don't need to see the bottom half. I probably know what every bottom half looks like. And I'm probably only looking at the top half just to confirm that what I'm remembering for the ingredients is actually correct.
Isn't that the sort of thing that could be one of those... if you hover over a tooltip for like 3 seconds, then it shows the extended information.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that. 3 seconds I don't like. That needs to always be configurable in the UE. The GUI. I'm
trying to think of which games do that. I've seen it before, where you hover over, you get like the basic information, but then you hold it there and eventually it shows everything.
Yeah, I can't remember anything. I remember an old school RTS. I can't tell you which one. Oh. Okay. Again, someone will have to correct me in the comments. Dark Reign 2? Going back some years?
I sort of remember that game.
Yeah? I sort of remember Dark Reign as being like the ultimate RTS with as many sub-options for the AI effects for your...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it had everything, but consequently it had a really steep learning curve and just failed.
Yes.
But yeah,
it was
really
a big deal back in the day, but yeah, it was a lot of options and
a lot of options. I've never met another learning curve like it. Anyway, so yeah, this improves things quite a bit in vanilla. Complex mods will benefit from it even more. Not my phone for a change. Recipes now have their own textual description, and each separate product can be explained independently if needs be. So yeah, it's I don't know. I think Mojo's right. Some sort of extended I hovered too long tooltip would probably be nice. And yeah, I want to see what mods do with this because there's gonna be a lot of mods that have, well, there are a lot of mods that have very, very long lists of crafting everything's.
Yeah, and potentially huge crafting chain.
Yep. And that's the other question I probably should throw in at the same time. The total raw we've got for Energy Shield Mark II, we have iron, we have copper, we have steel, we have plastic, and we have blue circuits. But blue circuits depend on more iron and copper for red circuits, for green circuits, along with oil products. Plastic also depends on oil products. Can we get that standardized finally?
That would be nice.
Like, I know, is it in... I think it's in the God mode. It actually lists your total iron, your total copper. Like, it doesn't list steel separately. It lists steel as more iron. And total oil products from memory. So total amount of petroleum needed to craft something. And doesn't have these weird step-ups where, you know... Why do I need plastic for this, but you're not going to count the plastics I need for the red circuits to make the blue circuits? Or the oil I need for the sulfuric acid to make the blue circuits. Yeah. So just a random request I'm going to throw out at the same time.
I think that plastic does include the red circuits for the blue circuits.
Well, low density structures, 5 of them would be 100.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
So there's an extra 25 plastic, which must be for the red chips in the Energy Shield Mark 1, which sounds about right.
They take 10, don't they?
Yeah, 10 red, 10 green.
And 5 low density structures is
100.
5 plastic.
No, low density structures is... Oh, no, it used to be 20 plastic.
Yeah, it's only
not 20.
5.
It's the recipe got changed. Yep.
Yes. 20 copper. 5 plastic, 2 steel, I think. I should remember this by now.
Yeah, it's some amount of plastic, it's some amount of steel. 5 and 2, it could be that. It could be 2 and 2 for all I know. But yeah, I'm willing to bet that the plastic amount is for the red circuits for the energy shields, Mark 1s, not the energy shield Mark 2. So, yeah.
Either that or it's not even counting the plastic. Now I'm gonna, as soon as we're done, now I'm gonna sit down and figure it out.
Yeah, and then we're both gonna get blasted in the comments for not knowing it off the top of our head. My money is the plastic count is for the energy shield Mark 1s and the low density structures. And like I said, I could probably work it out backward with the old recipes, but yeah, things have changed. So yeah, they're hoping... Oh, the other thing is they're using the exact same tooltip when hovering over logistics requests in the character window, which is one we haven't seen yet. We've seen a very early artist rendition, but we haven't actually seen it in-game or closer to being in-game yet, which is one I actually saw. So we have the inserter, which has a rotation speed of 302 degrees per second.
It sounds like stack inserter or fast inserter speeds.
No, that's an inserter.
That's an inserter. Oh wait, seconds. Yeah, stack inserter is like double that, triple that, something like that.
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah. It's like 0.3 something, I think. These are numbers I've never known.
It's... An inserter is not quite one whole rotation per second. A fast inserter is 1 point something rotations per second. A long-handed inserter is halfway between a normal inserter and a fast inserter. And stack inserter is just really good. But yeah, it does mean that people are going to start looking at the rotation speed of inserters, which is probably going to lead to a whole new wave of people that know far too much about the maths of the game and are going to come along and tell me that I need to, for this particular build, have one fast inserter and one slow inserter for it to be, or one fast inserter and one long-handed inserter for it to be optimally built. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to use 2 fast inserters from now on, just as I have in the past, because it's just easier. I don't need perfect optimal, I just need good enough to go. So yeah, They do say most of the implementation is done, just a few tweaks and bug fixes left to do, plus any changes based on our feedback. If all goes well, the new tooltips will be part of the next experimental feature releases, which we hope to release the next couple of weeks. After that, there are more GUIs to come, because GUIs are really the big thing that they haven't quite got to finishing yet. So yeah, we should see this hopefully the next couple of weeks. If you have thoughts, comments like we have, go whack them down on the forums is probably the best spot. Reddit's a close backup. Yep. And then we get on to the construction robot tile batching by RCD, which is the one that Mojo's excited about, and
we're all excited about. This is actually interesting because RCD was working on this quite a while ago, and it's only just now. He did it on a stream like 3 months ago, I think.
It's something that he's worked on without putting hands to keyboard and actually typing out any code for 2 years, I guess, a year.
It's something he's been talked about for a long time.
Yeah, he's been talking about for a long time. Because at the moment, you can get carrying capacity upgrades for your robots. And for Logibots, that's great. If you request 5 green circuits and you just have carry capacity 1, you get 5 robots sent. If you have carry capacity upgrade 2, so they can carry 2 items, you'll get 3 robots sent, and you'll end up with 6 green circuits. If you end up with carry capacity, they can carry 3 items, you'll get 2 robots, you'll end up with 6 anyway, so on and so forth. Construction robots have the same ability, but the only time they use it is when you deconstruct a chest full of crap. At which point they'll pick up the maximum amount they can carry and then fly back with that and dump it wherever they have to dump it. If you're building, I don't know, a row of 10 smelters, then you're going to have 10 bots take off to carry and a smelter each to dump them down, even though they have a carry capacity of 4 smelters per robot. So our seeding has finally implemented, and it's just for tiles. He wanted to have robots being able to build multiple things at the same time, because as I just explained, construction robots just spend most of their time flying around carrying nothing. And this, I think the first picture is from current Factorio.
Yes, this is how we're used to them building.
Yeah, and then we have the
as
second picture.
You can see, they have a very well-refined structure for how they decide what goes where.
They go from the furthest out right to left. It's not guaranteed, but that's pretty much, if you had to give a broad statement, the furthest out right to left. And they do a good patch job of getting it all done. The new method, when the clip restarts, is they can now carry... Oh, here we go. Clip restarts. And boom, it's done in a quarter of the time, which also means a whole lot less charge used out of your armor. So yeah, he's always had performance concerns about doing it, but one of the things he worked out was when it comes to tiles, people don't put down individual tiles like they do with individual belts or individual pipes. They carpet the whole base.
Yeah, it's very rare that you won't carpet tiles down.
Nope, I occasionally put down one wide tiles right in front of me of brick, because I want to run on them to get from A to B faster, and that's one.
In that case, you don't.
No, it's not the robots doing it. I'm putting it down literally in front of me. It's the good old run on the belt theory.
It's kind of a separate thing.
Yeah,
you're not using bolts.
But yeah, the biggest problem he had was performance-wise, because it gets very, very expensive when you have lots and lots of robots trying to batch things together when you're putting down new blueprints. And they could have thousands of tiles worth of range over your whole robot construction network. So
it's a 2 to the power of n scaling problem. Is that every board, if you try and batch them up, you're actually massively killing performance, because you're telling every bot to search everything on the map for every possible thing that it can possibly do.
Yeah,
and yeah, 2 to the n. So it just exponentially explodes.
I'll add to that in a second. But yeah, so the one thing he worked out was tiles, because people just blanket areas. He could do tiles without losing too much in performance at all. So that's what they do, because we just, as I said, just blank down large. And he says square patterns, but realistically, it's generally a curve, because you hit the plus button to get the biggest paintbrush possible, and then you're swinging around in circles around your screen as you run around. So it's generally round patterns. So yeah, he can generally assume that wherever you build a tile, there'll be another tile directly next to that tile that needs to also be painted in concrete. After several experiments and reworks, he finally got it done, and it's quite fast. He was happy, and then we have this lovely GIF down below which shows the current version versus the new version, and with the Roboports doing it, and the difference is massive.
It's almost done by the time the first one's just done, like
yeah, that and you have to spend so long for the robots to charge because they've all done like 2 or 3 runs out of the Roboport, so they're all very, very flat. Whereas the first one, because they all did it in one quick pass, they all recharge just about instantly and they're back in the Roboport, which means less performance overhead when you decide to carpet your whole base, providing you have the concrete in the chests to start with.
That would slow it down too, is if you ran out of materials.
Yeah, because then you're going to go back to the situation where robots are only carrying one at a time because there's only one in the box for them to carry.
But you're losing that bot charging, which is a big performance killer.
So yeah, for now they're just batching tiles. Now the one... Oh, and just in case you're curious, it was Boss Kid, the person who breaks all the plumbing things. He made the nice pretty GIF with the 2 separate Roboports. So the one thing I'm curious about, and I know it's a 2 to the end problem when it comes to robots and batching things, is can we have our setting look at a separate script just for your personal robot range? Because that's not thousands of tiles. That is a set, 20 by 20 tiles.
That's true. It is a fixed range.
It is a very fixed, it's a very small range. And honestly, your personal robots, when they use a lot of power, that slows down your building more than anything else. And the classic example I think of is an oil refinery. If you dump down an oil refinery with all those pipes, there's lots of pipes that are one beside one another. And on top of that, it's hundreds and hundreds of entities really compacted together because lots of things are 1 by 1 tiles. And they all use, the same amount of power to dump down as, an oil refinery, which is 5 by 5 tiles. So yeah, that's one thing I'd be curious if, can we have a separate bit of code that just runs for personal robot range?
In vanilla, that would work. But given what mods can do, it might be a problem because, you get a mod which adds higher tiers like a Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 5 Roboport, which might add hundreds of tiles around.
I think that falls into not Factorio vanilla problem. I think that's the point where they're like, no, we added this optimization for our game to make our game run better. Just because you decide to mod in that you want to have a personal Roboport range with a range of 100 by 100 and they stack, and then you have personal robot ranges with 1,000 tiles by 1,000 tiles, and when somebody dumps down a big blueprint, they get a performance hiccup from batch processing. Bad luck would be my answer. Have smaller robot ranges, except that if you give people a personal Roboport with a range of 100 by 100, people are probably going to stack 5 together because 5 fits into the armor neatly. And if it only gave them a range of 30 by 30, then they'd probably still put 5 in. They probably don't want the extra range. They just want 5 of them. Because I know my builder armor has 4 Roboports in my armor, not because I can have the power to run that, because let's be honest, in vanilla Factorio you have basically the power available to run maybe 1 Roboport flat out if you power it with 4 reactors. I've normally got the 4 in there because it fits the armor well and it lets me have enough robots in the air that if I put down a big blueprint it gets done reasonably quickly. So yeah, I'd like to see it for personal robot range, really. And if it breaks a mod, mods need to change their code.
It's a mod problem.
Yeah. And then we've got one last note at the bottom. As with Tooltips, the job of batching will be released as part of our next experimental future release, which we're calling internally Stable 3. 69 is Stable 1. 74, which is the one that just came out after the Friday Facts, I believe. I should really check this so I know. I think it came out a couple of hours after the Friday Facts. It did. Is Stable 2, and then this will hopefully be Stable 3 after we add this GUI and who knows what else. So,
is this their attempt at trying to do more incremental release?
It is. And I can't remember what was added between version... Well, actually, I can. So 69 was stable. 70 to 74 was all the biter pathfinding experimental stuff. So I guess now we're going to work on a whole bunch of GUIs. We'll probably add a couple of GUIs over a couple of patches. Or maybe it'll just be like just this GUI. And we'll just add this GUI and we'll just get this perfected. And then we'll call that stable again. And then we'll go on and add, I don't know, whatever the next task is. You know, the artillery sounds that we saw over a year ago and still haven't made it into the
It might be
game.
2 years now.
Yeah, but it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while. And the sad thing is, they're there. They're ready. They literally just need somebody to export the video, the files, and just put it in the game and just done. Yeah. So yeah, they're running through stables. I had no idea that, well, without reading the Friday Facts, that 74 is going to be considered their next stable. So it's nice that they're keeping us informed, and it's probably, it's really nice that they're just doing like little, like 3 or 4 updates, and then like that's stable again, and then 3 or 4 updates and stable again. I'd be curious to look at, maybe that's a future idea for the next Friday Facts. Look at their bug reports between, the bug graphs between 69 and 74, and see if they actually got significant bug reports from changing the biter path finding and AI. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it for this one. Yes? No?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I guess we'll see you next week for more... What was it, Mojo?
Stuff.
He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
No.
That's it. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah.